We're going to spend a bit of time today looking at comedians and the comedy ideas and writing techniques, but it's not about being funny. It's about coming up with an endless bank of stories that you can use to talk about your life in your emails without having to live a kind of rock and roll lifestyle. So the comedian's secret, I think, is highlighted by these gags here by Jerry Seinfeld, and it's this idea that you go small. Not small in the sense of talking about small things, but just really zooming in. So rather than just talking about hotels or drinks or getting on an airplane, Seinfeld focuses on the particular soap that they use at the hotel and what the experience of that is like. Really zoomed into that moment. Same with here, not just about drinking about alcohol, but also about the fact that it's the coldness that people seem to be interested in. And then about the flight attendant uniform, that kind of stuff. It's this idea of being specific that is the key to creating an endless amount of content. And it's so simple. You don't need to be funny or hilarious or, Seinfeld or anything like that. It's just about zooming in. Most people try and make the mistake of writing. So if you want to write jokes about airplanes, it's such a wide open topic. It's like having a blank page. It's really daunting. But as you can see, the whole point about the checklist was it really focused you in. So it took all the pressure off writing something on the blank page. And it gave you specific questions to answer. We zoomed in on what really matters. Who am I talking to? What's the one thing I want to tell them? Why should they care about this? What do I want them to do next? We zoomed in, and being faced with those questions is the one thing that makes it easier. And it's the same with this. When you're looking for stuff to talk about, zooming in will help you do this. It takes away all the resistance. So the example here is, if I wanted to talk about using a hotel, for example, I could break down every single step. And the goal isn't to come up with content for every single step. It's more to take the effort out of it and go, right, rather than feel the pressure to go, right, hotels, bellhop, stairs, luggage, that kind of stuff. It's not like Family Feud or Family Fortunes where you're trying to remember stuff and come up with high pressure answers. But if you boil it down, if you mentally walk through every aspect of the hotel, you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff. Getting directions, is there valet parking? And it's not too difficult coming up with these angles here because, well, all you did is just mentally walking through using a hotel. It's easy. By zooming in, it allows you to get clarity on the step-by-step approach. And that's the thing that you're going to focus on with this. And then when we pair it with the ideas we used yesterday about the idea of emotion, every single step here has an emotion. Well, most of them will do. And again, it's not about trying to fit every single emotion for every single step or trying to find an emotion for every single step, but most of them will have an emotion. And when you look at what we did yesterday, tying emotions into things just makes things a whole lot easier. It keeps the focus on them and how they're feeling. And it allows you to use the emotion as a golden thread throughout the email. So you can talk about your experience being frustrated in a hotel and how brides or landscape gardeners also feel frustrated too. And my thing helps your frustration because it just acts as that golden thread. So that's what zooming in allows you to do. And again, there's this bonus of when you're talking about your experience, your story, and your emotions, it gives the audience a piece of you in a totally good way, in a totally not Hannibal Lecter kind of way. It gives them an insight into your life and what's going on in your head. Now, most of the time that's not good, but if people are going to choose you, especially with like high ticket offers, or they're going to invest in you for a membership or a course, they want to know a bit about you. They want to flesh out the image they see on Facebook. Facebook is a highlight reel, and that's what social media is. So they want to know a bit more about you. They want to know what makes you different. They want a reason to choose you. And your stories and combination of your emotions, experiencing your stories, will give them that insight. It'll give them a reason to choose you over everybody else. And there's different ways you could face stories. And how you feel about one life experience could be different depending on whether you're young, old, happy or sad at the time, employed, unemployed. The same situation can have all manner of different emotions attached to it, depending on where you are in your life. And you can see here, this is how we're going to transition from a story to your thing. What's really going on here? What's the underlying theme of this kind of snapshot? And it's there in the emotion and the story. You just dive deep. Getting directions to a hotel. I want an easy journey. I want an effortless journey, a quick journey. The moment you first see the hotel, the first impression. You can see the ideas I've kind of laid out here. But you can see how zooming in to the story, each element, and then looking at the fundamental emotion behind them, helps you get one step closer to the what's really going on here stage, the transition, the lesson that you're going to tell about in the email. If you just faced the blank page and thought, right, I went on holiday recently, what's the lesson I can teach from that? It's a big leap to make. There's a few gaps to fill in. But when you break it down, every aspect of your holiday, and you look at the underlying emotions behind them, it gets you 2 steps closer to thinking, right, what's really going on here? I pulled up at the hotel. I was nervous. Why was I nervous? Because I got McDonald's wrappers in my car. What's really going on here? I care about what this strange man thinks of me. Right, now we've got something. And it might not lead anywhere, but you can see how the journey is effortless. It's not about doing it quick. It's about making it as easy as possible. So I've given you some examples there about the underlying thing that you can put together. And again, it's this idea, this is a work in progress. It's trial and error. Some things will work, some things won't. Some things will be better, some things will be worse. There is no perfect. The more you zoom in, the more you realize there are more stories. There are more stories, snapshots, emotions, lessons everywhere. Every emotion has so many different potential emotions. Every single lesson has, every single story has so many potential underlying lessons. It's not something you need to find the combination of to get right. It's just a way of going through the process and, like I say there, relating it to your audience in a way that they go, oh, I like this. That's what email is all about. So even though that sounds like a lot, remember, all we're doing is paying attention. And it's this idea. The only 3 things you have to do to build an endless bank of stories is not die, pay attention, and make notes. And you don't need to live the rock and roll lifestyle to have stories to use in your email. As you've seen, a visit to a hotel can be enough. And as I show you later on, a dog walk can be enough as well. So get into the habit of just taking moments in your day. So here I give the example. This is a really good place to start. Set 3 different alarms, at least 3 hours apart during your day. And when an alarm dings, just note down what you've done. And then look at how you can break that down even further. You can see, for example, this one, I talk about the dog walk. I take you through the emotions. And I actually did this as an email once. But yeah, you'll see how this process works. And like the checklist, it's just a way of going from one step to the next without having to do battle with a blank page. It just makes the process a whole lot easier. And as you can see, I turned one of the hotel room key email thingy, hook line, storyline, I turned one of the stories about the hotel room key into an email. And there's a video that goes along with that. You can click that and it shows every step of the way me filling out this email and creating it and sending it to my list. So I've done the checklist, I've done the rough draft, and I've done the final version there. And if you click the video, you can see the steps in between and you can see how the process works out. Like I say, it's not about writing quick, it's just about making it easier, and that's what this does. So you've got your task for today. Set 3 alarms, remind yourself of what you've done, and dive deep into every specific moment as much as you can. And just realize that even though your life may be dull as dishwater, and I don't know you, but if your life is as dull as dishwater, there is so much gold there. You have enough for about 75,000 different people to email their list every single day. It's just getting into the habit of noticing it and following the process, paying attention. What's the emotion behind this? Break this down, this small moment. What's the emotion behind this? What's really going on here? How can I relate this to my audience? And the emotions make that easier, but it's just a step-by-step process. But you need to take the first step, and the first step is noticing what goes on during your day. So have a crack on with that, and I'll see you tomorrow.